Hi everyone, it's Elaine Buchanan, and I am finishing up my first full week of my 9th year of teaching at the higher educational level, and we also started a Bible study at our chapel, so lots of really good things happening this week. But I wanted to talk with you briefly about one of the conversations that has come up a lot in my life and is continuing to come up on a regular basis. And that conversation revolves around opposition to being a woman in ministry. So I just want to give you a few suggestions that will hopefully be helpful to you and that have been very helpful to me. So the first thing is vitally important to trust God, to know that God is the one who called us, God is the one who gives us purpose, gives us meaning, and God is the one who sustains us. Sometimes, actually a lot of the time if we're honest, God's purposes, God's timing, and God's plan are oftentimes a little bit different than ours. But I do believe that ultimately God's purposes, His plans, and His timing are what's best, even though it may be difficult for us. Okay, let's be honest, it's really difficult for us. Even though that's the case, I really do believe that God has very good intentions and plans and purposes and timing for us. The second thing, and I want to spend the majority of our time today talking about this. Second thing that's important is building relationships with people because we care about them and because they matter to us. Okay. One of the things that I'm finding and that I found is that relationships, they could be from back when I was a child, or they could be relationships that are just a couple of months old. Okay. Every opportunity for ministry that is opening or that has opened for me is the result of relationships with other people. Okay. I don't build relationships with people to get something from them. I think that's ridiculous, and I think people can see right through that. I do build relationships with people because we have something in common, and because I care about them, and because I want to get to know them. That's a good reason for building relationships. And I think people can definitely tell the difference between the two. But this is what's happening, and what has happened for me is that people know that I care about them, because I do. But when something comes up, say there's an opportunity to minister or to speak or to write or to have a phone call with somebody, who may need some encouragement, any of those things, it could be anything under the sun. All of those things happen because of relationship. So what I'm trying to say with this is that when genuine friendship occurs, when genuine relationship occurs, what happens inevitably with this, usually, and it may take years, may take decades, what ends up happening is those relationships leverage opportunities for ministry. They leverage opportunities for ministry, which also means that you and I have the opportunity to leverage our relationships on behalf and for other people. So that means if I have a relationship built with somebody and I know their story and I know what makes them who they are and I know what they're passionate about, if someone comes to me and says, hey Elaine, do you know someone who's good at this, or who can do this, or who's involved with this? I can say, why, yes, I do. And I can recommend the name of someone, and I can give them their contact information. Again, the purpose is not to manipulate people. It's not to try to control people. The purpose is to build relationships, genuine relationships with people. Ministry opportunities oftentimes are a side effect of that. It's a result of those relationships. Okay, so that's the positive side of things. Let me talk a little bit about the negative side of things. Sometimes relationships are really toxic and they're not healthy. When that happens, you need to talk to God. You need to talk to some of the people that you respect and that you know care about you. But sometimes relationships need to be walked away from. Not all the time. Sometimes they do. Sometimes when that happens, when a relationship ends, sometimes a bridge or several bridges may be burned. Okay. Most of the time, when relationships need to end, the bridge does not necessarily need to be burned. Okay. What normally happens, and I've seen this, and I've even seen this in my own life, so I'm telling you from experience, when bridges are burned, inevitably what happens is one or both people end up realizing, I really missed out in this relationship, and I made some mistakes, and I don't even know if there's a possibility for this relationship existing again, but I just need to ask and I just need to try. So what ends up happening is, you got to find a way to cross that valley. And that's a lot of work. And then, if you decide that you want to rebuild that bridge, it's going to look different. And it's going to be different. And, that's a lot of work. As well. And sometimes that's painful because, forgiveness, restoration, all of that is wonderful and it's good, but it can be very, very difficult to do. So when facing opposition in ministry, sometimes we do have to turn and we do have to walk away from the relationship. But I'm asking and I'm saying, if at all possible, don't burn the bridge. Sometimes we need to, and I get that, but if at all possible, it's a better idea not to do that. Another thing that I've learned, and this is the last thing that I'll say, and then I'll summarize all of it, is that it's really important to earn trust with people. Now, a lot of people are very hesitant with me because of my educational background, being ordained, being a female, being an active duty military wife. I mean, you name it, being a mom, you name it, is out there. But what I've learned is that if I'm given an opportunity to do something, that also gives me the opportunity to earn trust. Once trust is earned, that is not easily taken away. That is not easily broken, and it is not easily diminished. So, to summarize everything, when facing opposition, focus on Jesus. Focus on Jesus. Trust Him. Know that He's got His timing, His plan, and His purposes for you. Second, build relationships. Build relationships because you care about people. And then leverage the relationships that you have to help somebody else. And then let other people, their relationships, let other people leverage their relationships for you and on your behalf. Third thing, sometimes we need to walk away from relationships. Sometimes that's the best thing to do. If at all possible, don't burn the bridge because it takes a whole lot of work and a whole lot of time to rebuild that baby. And then the last thing, earn trust, because once trust is earned, it is not easily broken. Well, soon, very, very soon, I'm going to do a little bit of teaching on what Scripture says and what Scripture tells us about Jesus and about Paul and their interactions with women, and in particular women in leadership. So anyway, I look forward to seeing you soon. I hope you have a blessed and a wonderful day. Have a good one.